Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back to my basement. I'm Francisco Suarez, your host, and this is from Suarez Basement. Yes, you are in the right place. So far, so good. Yes, you are in the right place. We love your company thanks to your love that you send back to us, that we put the effort and the hard work to produce this podcast for you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to WCNY in Central New York, PBS in Central New York for the partnership. It's thanks to that partnership that we can come to you every other week. Talking about experts, today we have an amazing expert waiting to have a conversation with us. We're talking about the actor Joseph Lee. He played the role of George in the new hit TV show in Netflix called Beef. I'm telling you, I 100% recommend it. Go and watch it, and then we can talk about it. But he is fantastic. So I cannot wait to have this conversation with Joseph Lee. We're going to be talking about his career as an actor, as a painter, of course, about the show Beef, and more other topics related to the communication, media, and the arts. Thank you for your company. And I want to remind everybody out there that is visiting us for first time that you can go to our website, which is www.fsbasement.com, where you can find an entire library of past episodes with this expert. Again, it's very easy, fsbasement.com. Let's start this new episode from Suarez Basement right away. Here we go. Joseph, I want to welcome you to my basement. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. I'm so in love with your work that I can't even believe that I'm having this conversation with you. So I'm extremely excited. Students are very excited to have you. And I know our listeners and our viewers are going to enjoy this conversation very much. Where are you now?
I am currently in LA.
Okay.
At home in my office in LA.
Fantastic. And you told me before we start talking that you are being quite busy in these days. Tell me a little more about it.
Yeah. Just it's been a little overwhelming, but in a very positive way. I'm just doing a lot more like press interviews, getting ready for stuff, meetings, all that kind of great stuff. And so yeah, it's really exciting overall.
When you say overwhelming, I'm assuming someone is just like, what happened? Like I was, at home 3 months ago, basically doing nothing, and now I have all these people want to talk to me.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm also like I'm a fine artist. I'm a painter, and so I'm so used to just being by myself in my studio that to be out of it and just engaging with all these incredible people, like it's all new for me.
That's so cool, Joseph. So I have a question. I always try to start my conversations with a very simple question because I want anybody who is listening, and especially students out there, to try to put themselves in your shoes. What I'm trying to say with this one is you didn't become an actor just overnight, right? This is a process, a very personal process that you have. When do you realize I want to be in the art field? I want to be, you mentioned you are, a painter, you are an actor. When do you discover this is something that I love to do and I would like to be my career?
Yeah, I think I would have to answer that in two ways. I think I've always been creative ever since I was a kid, and so I always doodled as a kid. I always sketched stuff like that. I started to do drama and theater in high school, and that kind of transferred over to my interest in college, and I was starting doing plays there. But so in a very abstract in an elementary way as well, I knew I wanted to pursue acting or something creative. But and then the second question is, when I actually moved over here, it kind of hits you in a different way of like, oh wow, like I'm now in LA. It's not just a dream anymore. I have to start making moves. I have to start doing something. I have to start going to auditions. It's always been something that I would tell myself as a child. Yeah, like you're going to go out there and it's going to be wonderful. But the reality kicks in quite soon as soon as you make that move. And then from there, it's like you said, it's been ups and downs, and it's took a lot of time before I feel like I've nurtured my talents and also just become mentally wise enough to get to this point at Beef.
I love what you say that because I think a lot of audience and the students, I'm a professor, right? They
Mm,
they believe that you don't need to be prepared for those moments.
mm,
And the truth is that I think that is what it brings you to success is that you really do the work to be ready when that opportunity knock the door. Is
mm.
that something that you feel like happened to you?
Absolutely. I mean, I have so many stories and moments where I feel like I was either angry at the universe or questioning why is this not happening, or just the frustration of all the rejections that come your way. But I think as you grow up a little bit and mature, I think you realize like a lot of those moments, regardless of how talented you are, even the most talented people, they squander moments because they just don't either have just the mental maturity, or for whatever reason, so many different factors where they can't really handle what that moment
Mm.
is. And I'm not the most religious person, but I think the universe, God, whatever it may be, I think they really presented this opportunity at a moment where I could actually handle it.
And I think that is that if you're ready for it and the door open, that's when things happen. Is the bad part is when the door open but you're not ready, right? Or you are
100%.
right, or you are ready but the door doesn't open. It's a both
Yeah.
way. I think
And it's almost as if like the talent isn't even the main focus, because for you to get to a certain point, you're going to have the natural interests. You're going to spend the appropriate amount of time to work at it. Like you're going to have a set amount of talent. It's really everything else. It's all the intangibles, I feel like, in that moment that really kind of determine whether you can take that extra step. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where I've always just been trying to prep myself outside of. I mean, I have no problem working hard, memorizing scripts, spending time on my characters, all of that, but it's really everything else. Can you do some self work on yourself? Can you build some sort of discipline, and outside of the work, can you create healthy relationships with people and foster a certain type of community that will allow you to like embrace these type of moments and failures? And so I think as I've grown wiser, I think I've just realized that the work is so important, but it's not everything. It's all the other stuff around it as well.
mm. Well, now that you mentioned that, one of the things I want to talk to you is, I always say that I'm a I find acting one of the hardest things to do. I'm not an actor, and I'm very frustrated about it. I wish I could do it, but I can't. I'm a really bad actor. Do you think acting is a natural talent, or you think you can learn the process of acting, or it's a combination of both?
Hmm. I can't speak for other people, but I think for myself, I don't think acting is a natural talent for me. I think the art is more of a natural talent. I think acting is something that I've really just had to work harder at. Um, and it's just all the technical aspects around it as well. But I think that doesn't necessarily mean, not having a natural talent doesn't necessarily mean that you can't become a great performer or an actor. I just think there's more hard work and more steps in there for you to get to that
Mm,
place. But acting, if you think about it from a very human standpoint, we all act, we all perform, we all have an agenda within any socializing conversation. There are things that we want that we use in our behavior to get something, and vice versa. And
mm.
so, if you can just really think about it from that logical standpoint, I mean, acting is performing is inherent in all of us. It's just a matter of being able to like really dive into that and expand what that craft is.
I love that. So I still have hope. That's what you. That's what you say,
Yeah, well,
basically.
I will say I don't think I could ever like interview. Like to me, that is scary. So I think what you do is incredibly scary, and I admire that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It is scary, but I love it. I just and learning about someone and know you now is
Mhm.
fascinating. I didn't know you just 5 minutes ago, and now we established this bridge where we can actually communicate and establishing a connection, and that is the beauty of communication and humans, right? That we can create that
100%.
connection through talking, right, and to
Right.
communicate. Let's talk about Beef, of course. I mean, I'm freaking in love with the show. It's just fantastic. Huge success. I love when suddenly something that nobody was talking about it. Suddenly it's like everybody's like, "Oh, you have to watch it." Forget about what the premise is, just watch it and you immediately want to get click into the show, right? How do you approach a character when you read a script for first time? What is your process as an actor
Mm.
to research that character? Of course, I would like to know a little more about your character in BF, but in general, when you receive a script, what is your creative process to say, okay, I understand what the character is, who the character is, and how to get there? What do you do normally?
Mm. I don't exactly know where I picked this up, but I for me, and I think it's a little bit of like my I think I have a tougher time memorizing lines than the average normal human being. And so for me, when I start off and get a script, I am very mechanical and just memorizing the lines. Like I just reread the script without thought, without intention, without an agenda. I just want to normalize and get familiar with the script and all the pieces to it. So that my brain can really wander outside of that. And it's really at that point, after I've really gotten familiar with the script, that I just continue reread, even when I'm on the set. I'm always reading the script, and it's really in those kind of moments where you're not forcing or when you're not expecting anything that like I feel like those gems kind of fall into place. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, in terms of having a backstory, it's after that point where, yeah, my creativity starts going in, where I start creating a backstory to this character, who he's from, in what context this person is living his life, and is engaging with this other person in the scene. And it's really kind of within those steps that you kind of somehow come to creating a character in the oddest, most beautiful way.
Mm. And I like what you say. I mean, for example, one of the things I found very hard when I took those acting classes, or even when I want to sing. Of course, English is not my first language, so it's even harder for me to learn some lines. But my memory is very short, so for me, I would be such in a worry that I would forget the lines. How much
Right.
can you improvise? Improvise is another word, but when you go to do the shows like Beef or movies, or do you really as an actor have certain freedom to move a little bit out of the the actual line that is in that script, or do you
Mm.
find yourself like, no, the writer and the director need you to really deliver that specific line?
I think it really just depends on who you're working with. I've worked with people that are very loose and kind of give that type of space to the actor to go, and then I've worked with the complete opposite of that. I don't really have a preference in terms of who I think works better. In the case of Beef, Sunny is definitely somewhere in the middle. We actually, my first chemistry reads and auditions with Ali, we would do the scene audition, and then we would do the exact same scene, but the second time he would say, throw away the script, let's just see how you guys gel. And those were really the most exciting moments, because I think you could really kind of see our creativity and our instincts really kind of coming to play. And by the time you're on a set, most of the times, you're not really going to have time to really improv as much. I think depending on what the project is again, but I think a lot of the times, people are on a time crunch. There's budgets, there's crews, and there's so many other factors where things need to kind of move, and so you do need some sort of set plan. But if you have some sort of comfortability and rapport with the director and the writer, and you feel comfortable and you can kind of see that coming both ways, then I don't think there's a problem of you doing the scene, and then maybe after the third, fourth take where you feel comfortable that we got it, then to kind of throw in something and say, hey,
Mhm.
I just have something on my own. Would you be okay with trying it? And most of the time, directors are not going to have a problem with that. And I feel like you have to kind of find that type of synergy with the people you work with and feel comfortable. Obviously, don't don't be an asshole about it. But yeah, I think most times I think it's okay for you to be creative in those
Of
moments.
course. And in the end, it's all about the main goal for everybody is to create something very special and unique, right? So if that
Mm.
improvisation at that moment could help that scene to, to be a better scene, why not to use it? Or why not to improvise at that moment? Um, George is a character in Beef that you play is almost a perfect husband, perfect dad. This guy is like, who could be so sweet and gentle and how do you approach the character of George? And I'm sure you, who played George, could
Mhm.
see a little more of the flaws that he has because he does have certain flaws. So I'm interested to have this conversation, which is awesome because you play the character, to how you approach this again, very nice person. But what do you think, as an actor who played the role, are the flaws of this character?
Ooh, well, it's interesting that's your perspective. And I totally see that as well. I've gotten these kind of polar opposite assessments where there are certain people that see George as a very sweet, innocent, naive person, and then there's other people that see George as very manipulative, toxic, annoying, and I really feel like all those things are true. They all kind of live in that bubble. I think for me, I think as an actor, um, number one is that you have to find the character from his point of view. You can't judge the character. So if this person is evil or just the most annoying person in the world, whatever it may be, you have to ground yourself in his POV, which the annoying person never knows that he's annoying.
Mhm,
So for me, it was really kind of, again, reading the script, finding certain seeds in the script for me that I saw that I can connect to. And off the bat, it was his vulnerability, his insecurity in himself. He needs this validation from his partner, from his friends, for his not only his work but just his life in general. And I think that's why he's so lonely, and that's why he makes a lot of the mistakes he does, is because he's searching for that validation. And it kind of comes under this umbrella where George to me is like he's like a golden retriever and like a child, uh, and a child in that he has this purity for his family and his art, and he's a puppy for it. He
mhm.
that's all he cares about, and he pours his all into it. And when that love towards the end gets betrayed, then pretty much his whole identity is shattered at that point.
Mhm, mhm. And as a Korean American, I mean, I'm a Latino American. Well, I'm a Latin American. Yes, I was born in Latin America, but I live here in America, so it's a little confusing. But in your case, you are a Korean American, a first generation here in the U.S. Is this correct?
Mhm.
Um, it seems to me that George is a very well the show in general, Beef, has a very interesting approach of what it means to be an immigrant in this country and also what it means to come from your own cultural background. This idea
Mm.
of family, and it seems George to me that he's a little of mama boy in the sense
Mm.
that there is this connection with the culture where I'm assuming George dad was a very strict, figure in his life where you have to do everything by the book and write, and that's where he's so insecure. Do you see this cultural background of Korean family, Korean culture into the character of George, but in the show in general?
100%. But I feel like it's well camouflaged. It's like, I
Okay.
think if people like you and I, POC communities, for us, it's like you don't need to scream those colors at us. Like we can see it loud and clear, when we watch the show. And that's kind of the interesting kind of direction and the way the show is designed, is that the focus is really on authenticating the characters, and if you can really do a good job of that, then I feel like all the other factors of race, culture, identity, I think all those things get presented in a very, very natural way without feeling forced.
Well, I think you're totally right. I think it's very well written because it doesn't feel full. It feels very natural.
Mm,
I do
yes.
think the interesting part is for people like us. In my the Latino families is very much a Korean family. It's very tight. Everybody
Mm.
have an opinion of what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Is this very macho culture where men are supposed to do certain specific things, and so when I saw and not only that part, but the immigrant aspect, right? The fact that the main character want to buy this piece of land because his dream is to bring the family back from Korea, and that those are stories that we live all the time as immigrants or first generation immigrants in this country. So I,
Mm.
I could see that in the show, but again, that's the beauty why the show is so well written, that it doesn't feel like this is a propaganda. This is not
Yes.
about me putting you in your face. This is a
Mhm.
reality, in fact, that
Right.
we're going to paint it with beautiful colors of entertainment and moments, and to make it doesn't feel that forced.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel, talking about being, a first generation Korean American actor, and that you have a certain responsibility now that your career is growing, and you're becoming very on demand to represent that community?
I personally don't.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I think again for me, like I grew up in Indiana where I didn't really necessarily grow up with like a present community. So I think in many ways I grew up kind of feeling a little bit of alone and feeling just a little bit kind of separated from any sort of pack.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that's kind of manifested in a way where I'm just always kind of in my bubble, in my head, just trying to figure things out for myself. Um, but I accept the responsibility that anyone places on me for me to, create work that benefits the community. Absolutely. But I think for me individually, when I'm stepping on a set or when I'm painting, I don't think that's really at the forefront.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to create the best work that I can.
I love it, and that's how
Yeah.
it should be. And yeah, that's a great answer. I do have a question about rejection.
Mm,
Especially in the acting world, rejection is, I think, the everyday life of an actor is to be rejected.
yeah.
How and I love this question because, again, I have a lot of students that are coming out to the field as an actors and set designer, costume designers, cinematographers, you name it. They want to be in the entertainment and visual storytelling business, but they need to understand that they will be rejected. The
Mm,
process of rejection will be there, and that's where love to the opportunity when I talk to people like you who are already in the field.
mm.
How Joseph deal with rejection?
I didn't always deal with it, I think, in the healthiest way. I think, I think when you're kind of young and more emotional, I think, you deal it with it like anybody else at that point in your life, where you either sulk in it for a minute, I think over time though, I've really kind of made myself productive in those moments. Like for me, it's painting. It's the one thing that I can go to, no matter how I'm feeling. But interestingly enough, I think through painting, I discovered I was able to kind of put rejection in a very interesting perspective. Where for me, when I'm painting, for every one painting that I paint and love, there's about 10 to 15 that I will never show anybody. They are horrible to me. I hate them. I just put them away. But that one that comes up, I put all of my pride and love, and to me, it's the shining gem that really kind of like compensates over for all 10, 15 rejected paintings. And so, in that sense, like I'm able to have that perspective that mirrors the acting side, and it allows me a lot of healing in that sense of no, oh, like this is just another rejected painting that I'm that I just don't love. I had a professor in college, Professor Weinstein, and he had this line that he would teach all the students: build a mental martial art. And in essence, what he was saying was, build a fortress up here to where nonsense and other people's voices can't interrupt. And for me, to be creative, to be an entertainer, actor, artist, whatever you may be, society's almost not designed for you to succeed. It's meant for this to be a hobby. It's designed for you to kind of look down upon it and go find an actual job, whatever that means. And really, at the end of the day, your most important currency is your own self-belief. It's real confidence. And that confidence is so special, and it should be so purely handled, because that is all you have. And when you have years of rejection on you, when you have everybody telling you you're a joke and you're not going to make it, when you have all of that on paper that is writing against you, literally all you are going to have at the end of the day is your own voice and your own self-confidence that allows you to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's that delusion. That delusion is the only currency you have for success. And so my only encouragement is to just believe in yourself, like truly believe in yourself. Even if you don't believe in yourself, believe in yourself. Like, just don't allow other people's voices to prioritize your own, because today, in the space of social media, trolling, people's comments, everybody feels like they can tell you what to believe and tell you what to do, and make fun of you or whatever. Like, none of that matters. It's your voice that matters more than anybody else.
I love it. I love it because that's exactly what I say all the time, and I say to my students all the time. Not only my students, every young person that younger than me that come for some advice. I say your only responsibility with you is to discover who you are and become truly to who you are. That's all what
Mm,
you need in life. When you reach that point, anything else will be, you will not really care about anything else as
right,
long your understanding of what your life is about pursuing and discovering who you are and becoming true to who you are. I think those are
totally.
key factors. What is next in your career, Joseph? What is cooking in the in the book of acting and painting?
Well, currently I'm back to painting right now. I have an art exhibition in Tokyo in September. So as soon as we wrapped up with the show, I've just been back in my art studio, just trying to finish this out. And then currently on the acting side, there's a writer's strike going on. So, we're just showing our love and solidarity for all the writers out there. And hopefully this can come to some sort of agreement, and we can kind of continue on from there.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
my last question to you, I know it sounds very philosophical, and maybe you will be like, well,
No,
I don't
I,
know.
I I love philosophical, please.
How do you want to be remembered W- as a human, not even as an actor? If in some point you say, okay, I know it's my time to go somewhere else in the universe, how do you want Joseph Lee to be remembered?
I think I would have to say somebody who just took chances. I think 99.9% of human life on this earth will never take chances.
Hmm.
And if you can be one of those few rare people that actually just decide to take a scary leap in life, I mean, is there a better human experience than that? And even if you fail, at least you're feeling something. So I would just, whether it's my career choices or work or whatever it may be, I think that would be the most rewarding thing, would just to being like, hey, this guy's career completely failed and he bombed. His paintings suck, but he took a chance, and I respect that. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Joseph, again, I don't have words to thank you for your time, your kindness. I wish you all the best in all your, adventures that are coming in your way, which I know there are going to be plenty of them. And again, this is your house anytime. And I really thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you. I had so much fun in the basement, and I appreciate your hospitality. Thank you so much. It was really fun.